Hello, everybody. We have just watched episode 2 of Survivor Blood versus Water. And I want to start this vlog by saying, please do not post any spoilers in the comments. Someone posted a spoiler of who they thought was a final 3, and unfortunately I read all the comments because I like responding to everybody, and I can't unsee that. So while I really hope that's wrong, that's all I can think about when I see alliances happen, and it really ruins it for me, and I think for a lot of people too. So please, no spoilers. There's nothing that makes me madder. So on that note, let's move forward with what happened in this episode and what we think about it. Redemption Island, I, as you know, or if you watched my previous video, am very happy with the outcome of that. I was definitely rooting for Candace, so I'm glad that she won. And Rupert, I mean, he was being lazy on Redemption Island, wanted to save his energy, which I got as a strategy, but I just didn't like the fact that he just immediately switched with his wife, and he just wasn't in it to play it, so he didn't play. Like he said, he didn't go to a tribal, he didn't vote for anyone, he barely competed in any challenges, so I'm quite happy with that. I don't think it's any surprise that Gervais didn't replace Marissa in the challenge. I thought that was pretty obvious. I wonder where that puts Marissa, though. To be honest, whether she gets back into the game at a later time or not, I think her game is over either way. But yay for Candace. I was so impressed with her attitude, and I thought she did a really good job. She stayed on top of it. She was strong. She reassured John, and she was a really good sport overall. I get why she gave him the idol clue, but I also don't think she realized how much of a curse it was going to be on him. Moving on to the tribes. Well, let's talk about Colton, shall we? We saw in the preview last week that his persona was going to come back, his one world attitude, and it did. Thankfully, it wasn't the spiteful, over the top, actual mean and inappropriate guy, but it was a highly strategic guy. Unfortunately, not strategic enough. His desire to just draw blood overshadows his actual ability to be strategic, because obviously his strategy isn't working on that tribe. And I was really impressed and so glad to see that Eris saw right through him. It really, it upped my opinion of Eris a lot. I really like that alliance of 5 of Eris, Tyson, Tina, Monica, and Gervais. Although, I don't get why Gervais isn't that, even though he'd be a perfect person to take along for a final 3, because I don't think anyone would vote for him. And it's still too early to tell, but I really like that tribe. I think it's really balanced. And Eris and Tyson and Tina, and Monica, I love all of them. So I'm really excited about that alliance. Before I talk about Tadhana, let's talk about the challenge. I thought it kind of sucked. Okay, I'm already disappointed that they don't have individual reward challenges, but that goes hand in hand with Redemption Island. But in addition to that, only half of the tribe actually played. There was no point in sitting out Kat. Half of the others didn't play either. There were 4 people rolling the barrel and in the barrel, and 1 person throwing the balls, and it's just, I don't see why that was a challenge that was played so early on in the game. But moving on, Tadhana lost again. And John was in a very tricky situation. Yeah, he has the advantage of having the idol, which he didn't find. But he does have a target on his back because of that. And I don't think he handled himself very well. I love that he's so tight with his alliance with Candace, and that he's thinking about who he might vote out versus who might switch with that person who would be fighting against Candace. I get that, but he was too obvious about the situation. And I think he should have been a little more subtle. So that was a bit of a shame, even though people didn't seem to realize that he was doing it for Candace, but they thought somehow his alliance with Rachel was much stronger than, and they were afraid of that. I was really impressed with Sierra. My main criticism of the girls in that tribe last week was that they didn't even try to stay in the game. They didn't even strategize, and Sierra was smart. She was like, no, I'm not going to sit and have my name written on there. I'm going to turn it against John, and it could have very well worked out for her and poorly for John. Man, that would suck if John had to fight Candace on Redemption Island. That would be really bad. I was bummed that Rachel got voted out. I mean, I think ultimately it's not like a terrible decision. Like, she wasn't the strongest tribe member. She wasn't the weakest, but there is no like real weakest, I think, at this point. They're all pretty strong in that tribe. I mean, okay, so Katie messed up a little bit last week, but it happens to everybody. It was their first challenge. So I'm a little bummed, and I hope that Tyson won't switch with her. It's a really tricky twist. I don't think he will. Clearly, they're making it look like he will in the previews, but I don't think he will. And also, by the way, if I were in that position and my boyfriend or husband or whoever, my loved one, wanted to switch with me, I would say no. I'd say no. I got voted out. I'm going to try and fight for it. Like, why would they have to switch with me? I would never I'd feel so awful. I don't know how Laura is actually going to keep going with the game. I know she said she felt relieved, but I would feel terrible in her shoes. Like, her husband didn't get to play at all because boo-hoo, she couldn't fend for herself. And that's going to haunt her, I think, throughout the game. So anyway, I hope Tyson won't switch with Rachel. I'm also really excited about Vitas, still excited about Vitas. I think he's also very, like Aris, aware of his surroundings and smart about it. And I think that's a key strength in any successful Survivor game. So yeah, for the vote, I get it. I think that the whole twist with switching with the loved ones puts all the loved ones that have a stronger loved one on the other tribe at a huge disadvantage. So any like Tyson-Rachel relationship, even Marissa Gervais, even Monica and Brad, even though Monica's pretty strong and I don't think Brad would switch with Monica. But like those kinds of relationships like are hard because those people like Rachel will get targeted more so than I think a Sierra and Tina or even an Aris and Vitas. I don't think either one would switch to replace their brother. So choosing, and I guess they couldn't really predict this, but choosing who you would play, which loved one you'd play the game with, is actually going to bear a lot of consequences in this season, I think. So those are my thoughts for this episode. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to my channel. I do respond to all the comments, but again, please, no spoilers. I'm being nice about it, but it really drives me crazy. So thanks, and let me know your thoughts.